Hey, what's up everybody? Justin here and excited to review you Initial D Extreme Stage for the PlayStation 3. And since I've already reviewed the Initial D games for the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation Portable, it only makes sense to review the PlayStation 3 game as well. And just like my playthroughs of One Gun Midnight for the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 3, I also played this game with Logitech's Driving Force Racing Wheel. So strap in as I show you what Initial D Extreme Stage has to offer. Just like how Initial D for the PS2 is a console port of the first two arcade games, Extreme Stage is more or less a console port of the 4th edition of the arcade game. While a story mode is once again absent, you still have modes for Legend of the Streets where you race other characters from the manga, a time attack mode, and a replay mode where you can watch whatever replays you may have saved in the other modes. In addition, there are also network modes and manga modes where you can read select chapters of the manga which are purchasable off the PlayStation Store, which I have nothing purchased of. Like in the PS2 and PSP games, the featured characters and cars and stages are up to 4 stages of the anime. The playable courses are the Akina Lake area, Myogi, Akagi, Akina Mountain, Irohazaka, Hapohagara, and Tsukuba. So you have a few less courses in the PS2 game, but still enough to enjoy. In the Legend of the Streets mode, you will have 3 to 5 characters to challenge on each course, and every time you beat a character, you will win some points, and later on, you can use those points on upgrading on whatever cars you drive. For this playthrough, I used an FC for my rear-wheel drive, EK9 for my front-wheel drive, and a WRX for my four-wheel drive. Like in the previous games, you can drive uphill or downhill, and some cars will be appropriate for one or the other. And there are some courses that are a mix-up. And there are some instances where certain cars will be best suited to certain courses, so it's nice to have one of each ready. Not only can you win points in the Legend of the Streets mode, but on the time attack modes as well. I say before you play against your opponents, it's always best to play the time attack modes in order to familiarize yourself with the game and earn enough points to upgrade your cars and be more than ready to take on the cast of Initial D when it's time to do so. Just like in the other home console releases, there are tricks from the manga and anime you can apply in this game as well. For example, you can grip the gutters in Akina, but compared to the PlayStation 2 game, I had trouble doing that in this one, but I had no problem doing the gutter jumps in Tsukuba. And like in Irohazaka, you can jump some of the downhill corners as well. And more often than not, you're certainly going to need the blind attack for the night races because they certainly saved my ass more than once. So fans of the original series are going to love this game just for these features alone. And compared to the PS2 and PSP games, which are relatively more controller-friendly, Extreme Stage is most certainly not. I tried playing it on a controller, and it was impossible for me to do so because it feels like you're driving on ice, and you're going to bump into walls a lot. If anything, this game was definitely meant to be played with a steering wheel controller, and I say even if Initial D Extreme Stage is only going to be the only racing game you play on a PS3 with a racing controller, then this game alone is worth it for it because I find this game only to be playable with one and a whole lot more fun as well. So when I played it on my driving force, like with One Gun Midnight for the PS3, I can use the stick or paddle shifting on it. It's funny, towards the end of Season 2 of MF Ghost, it does highlight the advantages of paddle shifting over stick shifting, especially with reaction times, and you'll really feel the difference with this and other racing games as well when you try out both. I felt when I drive paddle style, it was easier to control and maintain focus for better reactions and times as portrayed in that series. In the future, I would also like to get a racing sim seat, and I think that would be fun to play on this game as well. Maybe it's just me, but when I play this game on manual especially, there are instances where I look at my tachometer and don't see it moving, so I shift down to make it go up and help speed the car up. The graphics are very shiny and glossy, even as an early PS3 game, they're still uniquely impressive. However, they're so shiny to the point that even in clear and sunny conditions, the roads still have a wet look to them, and I kind of preferred the grainier and rougher look of the PS2 game because it feels more in tune with being based on the manga. But the portrayals of the courses are still the same as its predecessors and are still pretty easy to figure out. The graphics can be easily more emphasized while you watch the replays, and they look pretty excellent. In this manner, you feel as if you're watching the anime, as I said in my reviews of the PS2, PSP games, as well as my review on One Gun Midnight. However, due to how slippery the default controllers can be, I feel when cornering, you need to center your line more because you're more prone to oversteering or understeering depending on entry of angle. And the angle entry for me makes it hard for me to gutter grip on Akina, especially when going downhill. Maybe this is a hidden feature, but I know in the latest releases of the arcade series, like in Gran Turismo, the game will provide you a line to follow on the road, and I wish this game had it as well because I could have really used it. Going back to the graphics, when you play Legend of the Streets mode, you will be treated to cutscenes with characters before and after you challenge them. While the PS2 and PSP games use manga images, Extreme Stage uses cel-shaded graphics and animations to make it in tune as a game, and the characters are once again voiced by their respective seiyus from the anime series, which is also nice.
くそ、なんてこった。群馬エリア恐るべし。痺れまくるぜ。世の中にはすげえやつがいる。よかったらどんなチューニングなのか見せてくれないか。あの走りをする車の中身はどうなってるのか。ちょっと気になっちまってな。なんだこれ。とんだブルジョアチューンだぜ。俺みたいな貧乏人には手の届かない高嶺の花ってやつだ。お前みたいなやつに負けっぱなしじゃいられねえな。次にやるときは必ずリベンジしてやるぜ。
Also, characters will still retain in-game dialogue when you race against them, and they will recite lines from the original anime. Compared to the PS2 game, the song selection isn't just as wide in this one, but it's still pretty exciting. What I love about Initial D's soundtrack is its quality and quantity of Eurobeat tracks. The intro is pretty rad, and Move contributes an original song to this game, Dive Into Stream, which complements the clips in this intro excellently well to the point that you'd swear it almost make a great intro for the anime series itself. For the Eurobeat tracks, once again, White Light from the PS2 game makes a comeback, but songs from 3rd and 4th stage of the anime are featured here as well, such as a personal favorite of mine, Forever Young, and I think it could have used maybe 10 or 15 more songs, especially Wild Reputation, and it could have also brought back some of my other favorites such as Night of Fire and Space Boy, but you know, you gotta work with what you got. It's unfortunate this is the last Initial D console release as of present. Considering the arcade series is still ongoing, it's really weird that Sega hasn't released anything for the PS4 or PS5. The current arcade version would work well on PS5, so I have no idea what's holding them back. And with Initial D having another sequel in publication, Subaru and Subaru, I feel the upcoming versions will feature characters from that series, and hopefully the arcade series will have enough characters to enjoy on a home console port. If anyone knows why Sega hasn't released any more Initial D games for the consoles, possibly other than rights reasons, which may be understandable but still hate, please leave a comment. I say its most major flaw is its controls, especially on a controller. Even with a racing wheel, it will be difficult, but over 9,000 times preferable to that of a controller. I say this is certainly more for fans of the Initial D franchise and those that love JDM cars and a banging soundtrack to drive to.